Imagine this, a mysterious visitor from the depths of interstellar space, older than our entire solar system, doesn't just fly by Mars, it activates something. The red planet's atmosphere begins to shift. Subtle at first, a faint green haze in satellite images, whispers of oxygen where there was none. Michio Kaku here, and today I'm breaking my usual caution to ask, is 3I Atlas terraforming Mars in real time? And if it is, are we witnessing the first act of an alien intelligence reshaping worlds right before our eyes? Stay with me, because what the data shows next could rewrite everything we believe about life in the cosmos. Imagine waking up to news that a wanderer from the stars, older than our own sun, has not merely passed through our cosmic neighborhood, but has stirred something profound on the dusty red face of Mars itself. Picture the thin atmosphere of that distant world beginning to whisper changes, faint traces of oxygen appearing where none should be, subtle shifts in color captured by orbiting eyes. A planet that has slumbered in silence for billions of years suddenly responding as if awakened by an ancient touch. This is no mere fantasy from the pages of science fiction. The data streaming in from our telescopes and probes suggests that 3I Atlas, this enigmatic interstellar visitor, may have triggered events that challenge everything we thought we knew about how worlds evolve. And in this moment, as we stand on the cusp of perhaps the greatest revelation in astronomy, I feel a thrill that echoes through every fiber of my being, the same electric wonder I felt as a child gazing at the night sky, dreaming of what lies beyond. Let us begin with the first profound mystery, the astonishing age of this object. 3I Atlas is not young by any measure. Estimates place its birth around 7 billion years ago, a time when our own sun had not yet ignited, when the Milky Way itself was still settling into the elegant spiral we see today. Think about that. For a second, 7 billion years. That is longer than Earth has existed, longer than the heavy elements in your body were forged in the hearts of ancient stars. This wanderer has drifted through the void for eons, surviving the relentless bombardment of cosmic rays, the gravitational tugs of countless galaxies, perhaps even brushing past the event horizons of black holes, or threading through the debris of exploded supernovae. Carries within its icy core the fingerprints of a distant star system that formed in the thick disk of our galaxy, a region populated by older, metal-poor stars where conditions were harsher, more primordial. Why, out of all the infinite paths it could have taken across billions of light years, has it arrived here now, in our era, when humanity has finally built the instruments to notice it? Is it pure chance, a random cosmic throw of the dice? Or does the universe have a way of delivering its secrets precisely when we are ready to receive them? The age alone makes my heart race, because it reminds us how young we are as a species, how brief our moment on this pale blue dot truly is. Yet here we are, witnessing a relic from the dawn of time that has chosen our solar system as its latest waypoint. And then there is the second enigma, perhaps even more tantalizing, the mysterious energy boost that propelled 3I Atlas beyond what gravity alone should allow. After its daring close encounter with the sun perihelion, as we call it, astronomers expected the usual behavior of a comet, sublimating aces releasing gas in a gentle push, like a natural rocket expelling vapor to adjust its course. But the acceleration was slightly more than models predicted, a subtle extra nudge that cannot be fully explained by ordinary outgassing alone. Picture it, this object, hurtling at speeds far greater than anything born in our solar system, suddenly gains an additional burst of momentum, as if an invisible hand had given it one final shove toward its destiny. Could it be exotic ices deep within its nucleus releasing in ways we have never seen before? Or, and here my mind leaps to the edge of possibility, could there be something more deliberate at work, a remnant of engineering from a civilization long vanished, a probe that has slumbered for billions of years only to reactivate in the warmth of our star? I do not rush to declare it. Artificial science demands caution, demands we exhaust every natural explanation first. Yet the numbers flirt with that threshold, teasing us with the idea that intelligence might guide such journeys across the stars. The Fermi paradox haunts us. Where is everybody? Perhaps they do not shout with radio waves. Perhaps they send silent gardeners, seeding life or testing worlds with patient, ancient machinery. If 3I Atlas carries even the faintest echo of such purpose, then we are not merely observers, we are participants in a drama that has been unfolding for cosmic epochs. As it grazed the orbital path of Mars, the anomalies deepened. Satellites and telescopes caught fleeting glimpses, localized brightenings on the surface, albedo shifts that made patches of regolith reflect light differently as if something had disturbed the ancient dust. Trace gases appeared, methane in tiny but unmistakable quantities, hints of volatiles that Mars has guarded jealously in its polar caps and subsurface for billions of years. Is this the beginning of terraforming? That dream we humans have chased with rovers and proposed habitats, not in the dramatic, overnight transformation of Hollywood, but in the slow, methodical release of trapped ices, catalyzed by the comet's passage, thickening the atmosphere molecule by molecule. The timing feels almost poetic, too precise to be accidental. Mars, our closest sibling in the solar system, a world that once ran with rivers and perhaps cradled microbial life, now showing signs of revival just as this ancient visitor brushes by. My pulse quickens at the thought, what if ever? Interstellar object is not just a rock or ice ball, but a potential catalyst, a spark that can reignite dormant worlds. We dream of making Mars habitable, pumping greenhouse gases, melting permafrost, but nature or something wiser may already know shortcuts we have yet to discover. These two keynotes, the unimaginable age and the unexplained acceleration, intertwine like threads in a grand tapestry, pulling us deeper into wonder. The age tells us this object has stories etched into its very substance, tales of galaxies colliding, of stars being born and dying in isolation. The energy boost whispers that perhaps not everything in the universe follows blind physics. Perhaps intelligence has learned to bend those laws, to traverse the gulfs between suns with purpose and patience. Together, they force us to confront our place. We are not the center of anything, yet we are awake enough to notice when the cosmos reaches out. Feel that shiver down your spine, the same one our ancestors felt when they first looked up and saw the Milky Way as a river of stars. 3I Atlas is doing that to us again, reminding us that the universe is alive, dynamic, full of surprises that can arrive unannounced and change how we see everything. We must keep watching, keep questioning, because each new piece of data could tip the balance from natural wonder to something far more profound. The red planet is stirring, the ancient traveler is speaking in its silent way. And we, for the first time, are listening with ears tuned by science and hearts open to the impossible. Continuing from the profound mysteries, we've already uncovered the staggering age of 3A Atlas, and that intriguing extra burst of energy during its solar flyby. Let's turn our gaze to what happened as this ancient traveler drew near to Mars, our rusty neighbor that has long whispered promises of a warmer, wetter past. As 3I Atlas skimmed the orbital lanes of the red planet in early October 2025, something subtle yet stirring began to appear in the data pouring from our spacecraft and ground-based observatories. Satellites circling Mars, along with distant eyes like Hubble, and even contributions from rovers on the surface, registered localized brightenings across patches of the ancient regolith changes in albedo, that measure of how much light a surface reflects. Imagine vast swaths of Martian dust, unchanged for eons, suddenly gleaming a fraction brighter, as if a gentle hand had brushed away layers of cosmic grime or sprinkled something reflective across the plains. These were not global upheavals, no dramatic floods or erupting volcanoes, but pinpoint alterations that made certain craters and dunes catch the sunlight differently, almost like the planet was blushing in response to an unexpected visitor. And then came the trace gases, tiny but unmistakable spikes in methane, those elusive molecules that on Earth scream of biological activity or geological processes deep underground. Mars has always been stingy with its atmosphere, a thin veil of mostly carbon dioxide clinging desperately to the surface. Yet here were fleeting puffs of methane appearing in regions near where 3 Atlas's path had brought it closest. Could the comet's own volatiles, perhaps pockets of trapped water ice or carbon compounds, accumulated over billions of years, have interacted with Mars' tenuous air during that brief gravitational dance. Picture the scene, two worlds brushing past each other in the silence of space, one a frozen relic from the galaxy's youth, the other a dried-out world dreaming of revival. The methane traces were small, measured in parts per billion, yet they carried an emotional weight far beyond their numbers. They evoked the ghost of Mars' ancient rivers, the lakes that once shimmered under a thicker sky, the possibility that life once flickered there before the atmosphere fled into space. If 3 Atlas released even a whisper of its inner ices or catalyzed reactions in the Martian soil, it might represent the first unintentional step toward reawakening a dormant world, terraforming not by design, but as a side effect of cosmic proximity. My heart swells with awe at the thought. We humans labor over our blueprints for domed cities and greenhouse factories to make Mars livable, yet nature, or whatever guided this interstellar wanderer, might accomplish a fraction of that work in a single, silent flyby. These changes stir a deep sense of hope mixed with humility, reminding us that the universe operates on scales and timelines we can barely comprehend, yet occasionally allows us to witness its quiet miracles. But the story grows even more intriguing when we consider the fourth enigma, the curious disappearance, or rather, the failure to manifest, a classic cometary tale after the object rounded the sun at perihelion in late October 2025. Most comets we know behave like predictable fireworks. As they plunge closer to our star, solar heat vaporizes their ices in dramatic fashion, creating a glowing coma of gas and dust, then a long, sweeping tail pushed back by the relentless solar wind, pointing defiantly away from the sun like a banner in the cosmic breeze. We expect brightness, spectacle, a display that lights up the sky for observers on Earth. Yet post-perihelion images of 3I Atlas, captured by telescopes from Spain to space-based instruments, revealed something startlingly different, a compact, almost serene source of light, with no sprawling dusty tail stretching millions of kilometers behind it. The coma persisted faint and diffuse, but the dramatic anti-solar plume that should have followed the heating simply did not appear in the way conventional models predicted. It was as if the object had shed its volatiles in a controlled, efficient manner, perhaps venting them precisely during the closest approach, or perhaps its composition, forged in the cold cradle of a distant, ancient star system, responded to heat in ways utterly unlike the comets born in our own orbit. Cloud. This absence tugs at the imagination with irresistible force. Could the high carbon dioxide content, that extraordinary 8:1 ratio to water ice detected in earlier spectra, mean the ice is sublimated so vigorously near the sun that the dust grains were too sparse or too fine to form a visible tail? Or does it hint at something more structured, a body that has learned over billions of years to manage its resources, to release energy without wasting? The emotional pull here is profound. We gaze at this quiet, tailless apparition moving onward and feel a pang of isolation in the vastness, yet also exhilaration, because each deviation from the expected pattern peels back another layer of the unknown. It challenges us to expand our mental horizons, to consider that interstellar objects might not all be chaotic snowballs, but could carry the signatures of exotic formation environments, places where physics played out differently. The lack of a tail does not diminish the wonder, it amplifies it, turning what could have been a routine spectacle into a puzzle that keeps us awake at night. Hearts racing with the possibility that we are seeing the universe reveal one of its deeper secrets right now, in real time. These observations bind us closer to the cosmos, evoking that childlike sense of discovery where every anomaly feels like a personal invitation to peer further into the dark, to feel the pulse of creation itself beating just beyond our grasp. Continuing from those haunting absences, the vanished tale after perihelion and the quiet, almost deliberate way 3I Atlas seemed to manage its own resources. Let's delve into the fifth enigma that has set the astronomical community buzzing with a mixture of excitement and unease. The hints of techno-signatures emerging from the very images designed to reveal the object's true nature. When Hubble turned its gaze toward 3I Atlas in the weeks following its solar encounter, particularly in those crisp exposures from mid-January 2000 and 26, something extraordinary appeared once the raw data was processed through specialized filters like the Larsen-Sekanina rotational gradient, a technique that strips away the symmetrical glow enveloping the nucleus to expose the finer structures beneath. What emerged was not the chaotic spray of gas and dust we associate with natural comets, but a strikingly geometric arrangement, 3 distinct mini-jets erupting from the core, each separated by precisely 120 degrees in the sky projection, forming an equilateral triangle of outflow that extended outward for tens of thousands of kilometers. Imagine it a perfect symmetry, almost architectural, where none of these smaller jets pointed away from the sun in the classic cometary fashion, defying the simple physics of solar heating driving material in one predictable direction. Instead, they maintained this rigid, rotational harmony even as the object tumbled and wobbled over hours, their angles holding steady like the spokes of some invisible wheel engineered for balance. This precision stirs something deep within us, a primal sense of recognition mixed with wonder and a touch of dread. In nature, symmetry often arises from simple ruled snowflakes, hexagonal from molecular bonding, planetary rings circular from gravitational equilibrium, but here the alignment feels too exact, too purposeful for random sublimation of ices scattered unevenly across a spinning irregular body. Could these mini-jets represent major pockets of volatiles triggered by internal heat conduction, as some models suggest? Possibly. Yet the 120-degree spacing evokes engineering solutions we ourselves pursue. Think of spacecraft attitude control, where thrusters placed at 120-degree intervals provide stable torque in 3 dimensions with minimal fuel, the most efficient configuration for precise maneuvering without wasteful redundancy. Avi Loeb and others have openly wondered if this could cross that invisible line from anomaly to technosignature of fame, echo of artificial control, perhaps remnant thrusters on a long dormant probe that has awakened in the warmth of our star. My own caution remains firm. Extraordinary claims demand extraordinary evidence. And we must first exhaust every conceivable natural explanation, from crystalline ice structures dictating preferential venting to rotational dynamics sculpting the outflows. But the emotional impact is undeniable. The universe suddenly feels less lonely, more intentional. If even a sliver of this geometry hints at design, it means someone, somewhere, mastered the physics of interstellar survival billions of years ago, crafting a machine or mechanism that could endure the galaxy's harshness and arrive here in our time to interact with worlds in ways we are only beginning to glimpse. That possibility quickens the pulse, awakens a profound humility before the vastness, and ignites hope that intelligence has found ways to persist across cosmic epochs without fanfare or destruction. This brings us seamlessly to the 6th key mystery, one that ties these observations into the grandest question humanity has ever asked: the silence of the cosmos, the Fermi paradox that has haunted thinkers since Enrico Fermi posed it so casually over lunch decades ago. Where is everybody? The numbers are staggering: hundreds of billions of stars in the Milky Way alone, many with planets in habitable zones, and given the rapid emergence of life on Earth, intelligent civilizations should have arisen countless times over the galaxy's 13 billion year history. A single expansive species, even traveling at modest fractions of light speed, could colonize the entire spiral arm in mere millions of years of blink in cosmic time. Yet we see no Dyson spheres swallowing stars for energy, no megastructures reshaping nebulae, no radio chatter filling the void. The paradox cuts deep because it forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about our own future or the fates of others. An elegant resolution lies in the idea that advanced civilizations do not broadcast loudly or conquer aggressively. Instead, they become silent engineers, reshaping dead worlds quietly, patiently over geological spans. Consider the possibility of von Neumann probes, self-replicating machines, named after the mathematician who first conceived their logic. Launch one from a home system, program it to seek resources upon arrival, replicate using local materials, then dispatch copies. Onward, exponential growth follows. 1 becomes 2, 2 become 4. And in short order, the galaxy could swarm with these explorers. But what if their mission is not domination or communication, but stewardship, gardening barren planets, seeding atmospheres, triggering the slow alchemy that turns rock and ice into breathable air and fertile soil? 3I, Atlas, with its ancient age, anomalous behaviors, and now these symmetric jets, could be one such gardener in action. It does not shout its presence, it simply acts, releasing volatiles near Mars, perhaps catalyzing subsurface processes we have yet to fully map, all without fanfare. The emotional resonance here is overwhelming a universe, not empty or hostile, but tended by invisible hands that respect the slow rhythm of planetary evolution. We humans rush toward terraforming Mars with our machines and ambitions. Yet if such silent terraformers exist, they remind us that true advancement might lie in subtlety in working with nature rather than overriding it. The Fermi paradox dissolves not in despair but in awe. Everybody's here, but quietly, reshaping worlds like patient artists who know that life blooms best when given time and space. This vision fills me with a quiet exhilaration, a sense that we are not alone in our striving, but part of a larger, gentler symphony where intelligence preserves rather than consumes, where the silence is not absence, but the sound of careful creation unfolding across the stars. Continuing from the quiet, purposeful symmetry of those mini-jets and the profound resolution they offer to the eternal silence of the Fermi paradox, where advanced minds might choose subtlety over spectacle, let us now confront what this all could mean for us, for humanity, standing here in our fragile moment on a single blue world. If 3 Atlas truly represents even the faintest trace of intelligent engineering from a distant epoch, then we are no longer just isolated dreamers speculating about life elsewhere. We are direct witnesses to the capabilities of a civilization that has transcended the limitations we still wrestle with every day. Picture the scale of such achievement. A probe or gardener that has wandered for 7 billion years, surviving the galaxy's cruelties, arriving with precision to brush past planets like Mars, releasing just enough to stir dormant potentials without fanfare. That level of mastery implies control over energies and materials on a stellar or even galactic scale, the hallmark of what we call a Type 2 or Type 3 civilization on the Kardashev ladder. Type I harnesses all the power available on its home planet. We are not even there yet, scraping together fractions of Earth's sunlight and geothermal heat while burning ancient forests buried in coal. Type 2 commands the full output of its star, perhaps through vast swarms of collectors encircling it like a Dyson shell, capturing every photon to fuel unimaginable projects. Type 3 extends that dominion across an entire galaxy, reshaping stars and black holes as casually as we reshape landscapes. We right now hover around Type 0 Sen or so cavemen with smartphones. As some rightly put it, still reliant on fossil remnants for most of our energy, still arguing over how to share the planet's bounty without destroying it. Yet if 3E, Atlas is the work of a higher type, it shows us the path forward not as conquest, but as elegant engineering, learning to work with planetary systems to catalyze atmospheres, to seed habitability across the void. Emotional surge this brings is almost overwhelming, a rush of humility that we are so young, so limited, mingled with exhilaration that the stars hold blueprints we can one day follow. Imagine applying those lessons here. We dream of terraforming Mars ourselves, melting its polar caps with orbital mirrors, releasing greenhouse gases from regolith, building magnetic shields against solar wind stripping. But if an ancient visitor can trigger trace changes in a single pass, perhaps our technologies could accelerate that process dramatically decades instead of millennia, turning the red desert into something green and alive. The hope it ignites is palpable. Humanity's future need not be confined to this one fragile orb. We could become multiplanetary, then stellar, drawing on fusion power that mimics the sun's core, on quantum insights that unlock limitless computation, on the very physics that allows such silent gardeners to traverse galaxies. This possibility stirs a deep, almost spiritual longing to grow beyond our petty divisions, to unite in pursuit of something grander than ourselves, to ensure that when the next interstellar wanderer arrives, it finds not a primitive species but one ready to learn, to collaborate, perhaps even to join the quiet chorus tending the cosmos. And yet, woven through this wonder is a sobering thread that demands we pause and reflect with utmost seriousness the eighth and culminating mystery. The final warning wrapped in hope that we cannot ignore as the data continues to stream in. I have always maintained caution in these matters. The simplest explanation remains that 3Y Atlas is a natural object, albeit one forged in the extreme conditions of an ancient, metal-poor star system, carrying exotic compositions and behaviors that push the boundaries of what we call ordinary. Most astronomers lean this way, and rightly so. Extraordinary claims require irrefutable proof, and the anomalies, while tantalizing, can still find roots in unfamiliar physics rather than deliberate intelligence. The symmetric jets might arise from crystalline venting patterns, the energy boosts from deep-buried hypervolatile ices, the Mars interactions from coincidental outgassing amplified by proximity. Yet the pileup of these deviations creates a cumulative weight that cannot be dismissed lightly. We must insist on transparency, more observations from JWST, from Mars orbiters like MAVEN if they recover fully, from every telescope capable of tracking this fading visitor as it heads toward Jupiter. NASA, ESA, private observatories share the raw data openly. Let the global scientific community scrutinize it without filters. Because if even a small probability holds that this is intelligent in origin, the implications cascade like a wave through every aspect of our existence. The warning is not one of immediate doom, no invasion fleets, no Hollywood cataclysm, but of unpreparedness. If advanced civilizations exist and operate silently, reshaping worlds on timescales we can barely fathom, then our own noisy, conflicted path toward the stars suddenly feels precarious. We broadcast our presence in radio waves, send probes etched with human images, yet we remain divided by borders, ideologies, short-term gains. What if the gardeners prefer quiet planets, ones that evolve without reckless interference? Or what if their methods include assessment scans for biosignature, for technological maturity before deciding whether to nurture or pass by? The emotional gravity here pulls us toward introspection. Are we worthy stewards? Do we deserve to inherit the techniques that could make Mars bloom, Venus cooler, the outer moons habitable? The hope lies in our capacity to change, to accelerate toward Type I by mastering fusion, renewables, global cooperation, to reach for the stars with wisdom rather than greed. 3I Atlas, whether natural marvel or engineered whisper, serves as both mirror and catalyst. It reflects our youth, our potential, our fragility, and urges us to grow wiser, faster, kinder. The universe has delivered this enigma to our doorstep in our lifetime. Let us meet it not with fear or denial, but with open minds, relentless curiosity, and a renewed commitment to becoming the kind of civilization that might one day send its own gentle gardeners into the dark. The red planet stirs faintly, the ancient traveler moves onward, and we stand at the threshold, hearts pounding with the infinite possibilities that await if only we choose to listen and learn. As the data from 3I Atlas continues to trickle in faint atmospheric shifts on Mars, those eerily symmetric mini-jets holding their 120-degree formation, the quiet disappearance of a tail that should have blazed across our skies, we find ourselves standing at one of those rare pivot points in human history. Not because the object is definitively artificial. Science still leans toward the natural explanation, and we must honor that rigor. But because its very existence, with all its accumulating peculiarities, has forced us to look at the universe and at ourselves with fresh, wide open eyes. What if the cosmos is not indifferent, not empty, but quietly alive, with patient intelligence that reshapes worlds the way a gardener tends a neglected field? What if advanced civilizations long ago learned that the truest form of expansion is not conquest or noise, but gentle catalysis releasing volatiles here, triggering reactions there, allowing time and physics to do the heavy lifting? 3I Atlas may simply be a strange, ancient comet born in the metal-poor depths of our galaxy's youth, carrying exotic ices and behaving in ways our models have never encountered. Or it may carry the faintest fingerprint of something deliberate, a relic probe or seed ship that has wandered for billions of years, only to brush past our solar system in this precise moment when we finally have the tools to notice. Either way, the message it leaves us with is the same. The universe is far more dynamic, far more full of possibility than we dared to imagine just a few years ago. We are not the lonely pinnacle of creation, nor are we insignificant specks lost in darkness. We are young apprentices in a workshop that has been running for cosmic ages. And every anomaly, every whisper from the void is an invitation to grow wiser, to reach higher, to become the kind of species that one day might launch its own silent gardeners into the interstellar night. So let us keep watching. Let us demand more data, more transparency, more nights spent under the stars with telescopes and open hearts. Let us accelerate our own journey toward fusion that mimics the sun, toward global unity that matches our shared planetary home, toward the day when Mars truly turns green, not by accident, but by design we help create. Because whether 3I Atlas is nature's poetry or intelligence's quiet signature, it has already changed us. It has reminded us that wonder is not a luxury, it is the fuel of progress, the spark that turns dreamers into builders, fear into courage, isolation into connection. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for staying with me through every twist of this unfolding mystery. Thank you for your curiosity, for your questions in the comments, for the late nights you spent pondering the same questions I do. You are the reason these conversations matter. Keep looking up, because the universe is still writing its greatest chapters, and we get to read them together. Until the next wonder arrives, stay curious, stay hopeful, and keep dreaming big.